Fansided covers Oregon football, Oregon basketball, and other Oregon sports. So I was just talking to Dale, and listen, there was, first of all, Justin Herbert playing with a hand injury. Every time he ran the ball, I was like, don't protect the hand, protect the hand. He threw a beautiful pass into coverage. I mean, it was a good, nice win for them. Over 9-4. And then after the game, Laura Rutledge wants to talk to him. And Dale wrote an article about it that he wanted to celebrate with his teammates. He really didn't want to be bothered talking about a game. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a crazy situation and something I'm sure that athletes have either tried to do or thought about doing or been frustrated about since sideline interviews began. Ms. Rutledge did a great job in terms of, trying to get the story. I understand that's her job. However, as a football fan, I don't think I've ever enjoyed or found a sideline interview illuminating or entertaining. And in that situation, Justin Herbert just played a game with a broken hand. He had a padded glove on his left non-throwing hand. And, I'm sure that whatever, medicine or precautions or mental preparation that took was a lot. And for him to get cornered on the field after a game like that, I think he was just being honest when he said, I want to go celebrate with my team. Now, the NFL, it's part of the show. NFL players are required to submit to those halftime, sideline, midfield interviews after a game, those kinds of things. It's as much a part of the show as the script on Saturday Night Live or WWE Raw. But Herbert had just been through an ordeal. He was sacked 7 times in the game.
Right. He was.
Yeah, playing with a broken hand. He led his team in rushing with 66 yards. Man, he was done. He wanted to go, kiss his girlfriend, say hi to his teammates, take the glove off his hand, any number of things other than talk to a reporter. And it could have been any reporter. It could have been Sal Palantonio. It could have been anyone. It wasn't personal. It wasn't sexist. It wasn't rude. It was just, man, I'm tired. I've been through a ringer. Do we have to do this right now? And he did his required expected time in the media room after the game. To have to do the sideline thing was too much.
Too much. 100%. All right. So, you called it. Oregon is the 5th seed. They're going to play James Madison under the lights at Autzen Stadium on the 20th, right? 20th.
December 20th. Sorry.
No, right? No, what are you going to say? I wasn't cutting you off.
December 20th, 4:30 p.m. on TNT.
7:30 on the East. Yes. Yeah. No, it's on TNT, True TV, HBO Max. That's what I saw.
Yes.
They're only at what?
It will still be an ESPN production. It's an ESPN set of announcers. And for this game, they have 2 sideline reporters. So fantastic. Dan Manning will be asked the requisite number of dumb questions. How do you feel? What's your plan for the second half? Blah, blah, blah.
We're trying to lose. So what are you trying to, we're trying to score more points than them in the second half. How do you think things went in the first half? Terrible. Like, that's what I wish they would go. I want to go in the locker room and I want to I saw a meme where the coach comes in and slaps everybody in the face in the locker room. He goes around, he just goes like Three Stooges. That's what I'd like to be in the locker room when they don't play well in the first half. That's where I want to be, a fly on the wall. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
So I got a question for you. Okay, Will Stein goes to Kentucky. Uh, Tosh Lapoy goes to Cal, and he kept his quarterback, which was very impressive. Who I thought was going to go in the transfer portal. So Lanning stays in house. Drew Meringer, who was working with quarterbacks, he's now the OC. And Chris Hampton was a linebacker, was a secondary as the new
Secondary.
DC.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about the two guys coming in to replace Stein and Lapoy?
It's a big job. And I was really surprised that Lanning went that way. In all the situations past, he's gone outside. He's gone around the country. He's scoured his Rolodex to find the guy and somebody with a lot of energy. But in the time he's been at Oregon, he's done a fabulous job with his hires. So he must know something. Obviously, he knows a lot about these two guys. They've been on his staff for, I think, Hampton for 3 years and Meringer for 4, and he believes they're ready. Both have a little bit of play calling experience, but this will be a step up for both of them in responsibility, in pressure. But they're both knowledgeable football guys. Lanning said the thing that was most important to him was the relationship these guys had as teachers, as the relationship they had with their players. He said it's fine to be able to go up on the whiteboard and scheme out a defense or scheme out an offense, but you're only as good as what you can teach your players. And he really feels a lot of confidence that Hampton and Meringer will provide continuity, great relationships, and recruit at the standard that Oregon wants to recruit at.
Now, Stein and Lapoy are both with the team through the playoff run. Are they staying with?
That's right, and that's a monumental effort on their part and a real classy thing to do. Tosh Lapoy said that there's no way over my dead body would I not complete this journey with my players.
Right. Yeah. Now it all kind of worked out. Now you're 21.5 point favorites. You James Madison, we were talking yesterday. Notre Dame doesn't play and drops behind Miami, and the committee said, "Hey, you know what? BYU lost, so now we're going to look at the head-to-head of Miami." It's like idiots. And I have the college football playoff final rankings, and listen, I give props to Tulane; they won their conference. I give props to James Madison, but how do you feel about that? Do you feel that it should be the best 12 teams, or we should have the group of 5 teams included in the playoffs? What do you think about that?
It really got weird this year.
It did.
Vanderbilt and Notre Dame get left out. Miami was right on the bubble. And you have 2 group of 5 participants in the tournament. And that feels strange because there's no way if they met on the field, the Irish would be favored by at least 3 touchdowns. Probably after all this, by 35. Definitely Tulane and James Madison are good football programs that great seasons. And I can see including one of them.
That's what I felt.
12.
That's what I felt.
Other 11 teams need to be the 11 best teams in America. And obviously the committee has a monumental task in determining who those teams are. But it's pretty evident that in this case, they went a little too far in the inclusion factor. And I'm sure there will be tweaks next year. I think it creates a lot of pressure to make it a 16-team field. And then you're getting closer and closer to, what are we doing here?
Right. Now, I didn't see a lot of the game on Saturday night, but I did see portions of it, and I did watch the end. I was impressed. I didn't think my cousin goes, it's going to be a blowout. There's no way they've lost 30 in a row. to Ohio State. They hadn't beat them since '88. I know they're both not trying to show too many cards because they're getting ready for the playoffs, but I'll tell you, Indiana 13-0. What a season! And they beat you guys at home, so that impressive team. I don't know how. And interestingly enough, last year all four teams that got the bye lost in their first game. So I'm kind of curious that this helps Oregon. I think having after the play. And now I wanted to ask you about that too. Which I mean, I can't believe James Madison will. I think it's over at halftime, but you have to play Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl at noon on New Year's Day. That should be hot and grass. So I'm kind of curious. That should be an interesting game for your Ducks. I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
That's all right. I think everyone out here in the UT area is as well. And definitely, you have to play the game and you have to win. They're
Right.
a 20.5 favorite over the Dukes. So yes,
21.5. I saw ESPN said 21.5, but yeah, 2020. It's still 3 touchdowns, right?
It moved around a little bit. I think it opened at 21.5.
It went down.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, it's 3 scores, and I wouldn't wager on the game because I don't bet on college football. I don't know how you can, but definitely be electric atmosphere, a night playoff game at Autzen Stadium. The crowd's going to be juiced. It'll be loud. It'll be exciting. And I think it's great that they moved the first round to home sites.
I agree.
If they expand the playoffs to 16, the first 2 rounds ought to be at home sites.
Right.
Partly because I think you're doing an incredible disservice to the fans who are supporting the program throughout the year, contributing their money and so forth, to have a playoff game at the Orange Bowl, at 9 a.m. West Coast time.
That's early.
It just worked out that way for a number of reasons, but it only would have seemed natural to me to have Texas Tech and Oregon, if that indeed becomes a matchup, at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, where they can have a raucous crowd. Now, it's probably to Oregon's advantage that it's, a truly neutral site.
It really is.
For both fan bases, but I'm kind of wondering how much energy or juice there'll be in the stadium at 9 a.m. at the Orange Bowl on New Year's Day.
Yeah, well, but right, 9 a.m. your time, but right, their clock's going to be 9 a.m. It'll be new. It's going to be hot, and it could be rainy, so it's going to slow down the track. You make a great point because right, the Cotton Bowl this year, yeah, they gave Ohio State. I think Ohio State should have played the Cotton Bowl. I agree with you. Texas Tech should have got the Cotton Bowl. Indiana's playing at the Rose Bowl, so their fans are going to have to travel. And I'll tell you, that's a tough. They're going to get Alabama or Oklahoma in their first game, and that is a tough. I know they're number 1, but I look at that matchup as like out of all the teams, and Texas Tech and Oregon's a tough one. Georgia's going to get Ole Miss, which is a conference rival, which they beat them the regular season, and then Ohio State would get Miami or Texas A&M, which I think they will roll either of those teams. I think Texas A&M is highly overrated, highly, and Miami, Carson Beck is like this. So yeah, I'm excited. I looked up some players. I don't know anything about James Madison. They have a running back. The running back is named Wayne Knight, which is Newman's character's real name is the guy who plays Newman on Seinfeld. So Wayne Knight is their leading rusher with over 1,200 yards, almost 7 a carry. Alonzo Barrett III won the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. And his backup, do you remember Matt Sluka, who was at UNLV? He went 3-0, and he said the coach was supposed to give me this money, so he basically just dropped out. Well, he's the backup for James Madison. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Trivia question.
Yes, that's a trivia question. So, and I looked up their leading receiver is Layden Ellis, who averages about 16 a catch. Both teams now it's different leagues, but 37-38. Points against 15 for Oregon, 16 for James Madison. Yards per game, both about within 15 yards of each, like over almost 450 each, 450 each. Passing yards, that Dante Moore has the advantage. Rushing, though, James Madison, they said, averages 246 a game, but Oregon has, like you said, a three-headed monster. And then defensively, about the same. Passing yards allowed, about the same. And rushing, James Madison didn't play the same competition, 76 to 107. And takeaways and turnovers, about the same. So, JMU yards per play ranking 23rd on offense, number 4 on defense. They lost to Louisville on the road, the only loss they had this year. Barnett last year tore his ACL on the final play of the regular season, came back, and their defensive player of the year, Trent Hendrick, the linebacker, he was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year, 96 tackles, 3 sacks. The defense was the top 10 in FBS in scoring and total defense. Now, great. Listen, Sun Belt, you played Louisville. Washington State came, you barely held on. That would have knocked you out of the playoff. And it all fell into place because Duke, I mean, they went to a. Did you know how they went to the tiebreaker in the ACC?
No.
They went by your opponent's winning percentage. So Duke's opponents are over 500, and SMU and Miami's were under 500. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's how it broke. That was the final tiebreaker. So you'd rather have a 10-win team on the outside looking in and play a 7-5, which you knew was going to happen. UVA tied it, and I was like, in overtime, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then Duke goes, we deserve to be there. And I was like, well, in the old days, you won your conference, you're in the tournament. But they said, oh, we can't put it in. Why not? I'll tell you. I think Oregon would have liked. I think fans would have rather seen Duke go out to Eugene than see JMU. Like you said, 2-1 okay, but James Madison, no disrespect to your program, but it's the Sun Belt. It's the Sun Belt, and you don't play anybody.
I'll go back to what I said before. I can see adding one group of 5 team to the mix,
right?
Not 2, and the ACC blew it, and they've got to tweak their tiebreaker rules. If your objective is to get your teams into the tournament, and I think that's the objective, you've got to start with, as a tiebreaker, the ranking in the college football playoff. You want the highest ranked possible teams in your conference tournament. Conference tournaments it's a shame, but they're probably an endangered species at this point because nobody wants to play in them. I'm waiting for something. Notre Dame opted out of a bowl game because they didn't get into the field. Well, how long before somebody opts out of a conference tournament because they want to preserve their place? Now, Alabama, they didn't count losing the conference tournament against them.
However, but BYU, they did.
Yeah, it absolutely cost BYU a place at 11-2. The only team that they lost to was Texas Tech, both times.
Twice. Right.
Yeah.
Holly Rose said they got Scrooged because they lost twice to a top 5 team. And why are they not in? Because they beat everybody else they played this year. And that's what, like you said, they didn't count Alabama losing 28-7, but they counted BYU losing to Texas Tech. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. And now one of the guys I got into an argument with, Brandon, in my one of my friends, Brandon, was that he said they want ratings, and they're going to get ratings with Bama. They're not going to. They don't. And I said, but Notre Dame gets ratings. But you know what the thing is too, Dale, and I wanted to talk to you about this. Patty, a friend of mine, is a high school offensive coordinator in upstate New York. He said they should do the beginning of the year like college basketball, ACC, SEC, Big Ten, SEC Challenge. So you have every year. You have like Texas played Ohio State. The first 4 weeks should stop being cream puffs. Like Oregon should not play Montana State. I know they're in the FCS playoffs right now, but they should be playing teams. No more of these cream puffs. No more of these, FBS. I know it's hard, but I'd rather a team get into the playoff at 10-3 and they played a real schedule than a team that's 11-1. Texas A&M didn't play anybody. They played what, 2 ranked teams I think this year, 2 or 3. Yeah, what are they? Yeah, 3-1. I'm sorry, 3-1, and they lost. But they and that was early in the year. But they played LSU and that's what I feel like. I mean, Oregon. How many do you guys play this year? You went 3-1, 3-1 in your and everybody plays cream puffs to start the season. It's just that's the way it is. They don't want to jeopardize the playoff, but let's have the best teams in. Let's have the real best teams in, like you said. Yeah.
If there were a commissioner and
Yes.
that commissioner really cared about college football and its future and the fans who watch it, absolutely everyone might play one tune-up game, not 3, not a
Right.
tune-up game in November. They play a real
Right.
schedule that would include 1 or 2 matchups against equally strong teams. And I think honestly coaches would want that if there weren't so much pressure to build a resume and avoid a loss.
Right.
It's not about who you beat. It's, did you lose? And how many times did you lose? And who did you lose to? And then it gets weird. There are inconsistencies where the networks and the powers that be want to choose big brands, you know, good helmets, blue blood programs, and they pass over. I don't know though. BYU and Notre Dame are pretty big programs, but
Right.
there's a lot of inconsistency. And as you said, if there were more equity in the way teams scheduled, if we didn't have these gigantic bloated conferences where you could go, Ohio State and Oregon will play once or twice every 5 years. Uh, teams really don't. The difference between A&M's schedule and the schedule that Georgia went through to get to the college football playoff is massive. They play in the same league, but they in no way did they play the same difficulty, and
Right.
it gets a little crazy. Uh, The way they ought to start from scratch and schedule 10-team regional conferences where you're playing against teams and you're principally against teams in your own region, and you play everybody in your league, and then
Right.
the other 3 or 4 games are against competitive teams from around the country, teams at your own level. Then we have a real product. Then we really see who's better. What we get is this made for TV Survivor Series, which okay.
They're bringing back the Pac-12, but it's not the Pac-12. It's a lot of teams that are mediocre. And I
Yes.
really, the Pac-12 was great. I mean, you played Oregon State was a real rival. You played Washington. You played USC. You played UCLA. You played. I mean, it was just the better. And now the Big Ten is spread out from the West Coast to the East Coast, and it's like, and you can't play it like you said. Texas A&M didn't play Georgia, didn't play Alabama. Oregon didn't play Michigan. They didn't play Ohio State. Indiana didn't play Michigan, but they played Oregon and Ohio. Right? No, they didn't play. Right? They only played Oregon. They didn't play Michigan. They didn't play Ohio State till the championship game. So there's a problem here. It's like it's not balanced enough. And all the ACC teams didn't play each other. That's why they had to do a tiebreaker, because nobody played each other. And you don't have common opponents. It's like, so we're going to do a tiebreaker. Like you said, I saw that on Bleacher Report. 10 conferences geographically set. Because imagine if Oregon could play like a BYU. Utah's good every year. Arizona State, but like those USC every year. Washington. That would be a great conference because they beat each other up like the SEC beats each other up. And I'd rather see that, like a true champion that has 2 or 3 losses, than a team that's like, Texas A&M goes into the final against Texas 11-0, loses, and now you're wondering, are they 11-1? But how strong an 11-1 are they? You
Well,
just
on
don't
the
know.
first try, JD, we get to find out to an
Yes.
extent. because now
Yes.
everybody has to play somebody, and to win the whole thing, you got to be tested. You got to win 3 or 4 really solid competitive games. And once this first round is over, which includes a couple of real mismatches, we'll get down to some football, and that'll be fun.
And Dale, when you think about it, okay, I'm just going ahead. You have to go through Texas Tech. You got to go through Indiana, Ohio State, all three and all games cross country. That's a lot. But I feel like, and then I saw a thing that Dante Moore, what's his name, Brugler on Dane Brugler, who writes for the Athletic. He had Dante Moore going third, I think, to the Raiders. Like them trading up to get him. And there's rumors that, and you said, his camp and everything, and he's making money in college, but I don't know. My girlfriend sent me something that Jeremiah Smith is making more money this year than Jackson Smith, the Jigba of the Seattle Seahawks. He's making over $3 million this year, and Jackson Smith, the Jigba, is making 2 and change. So it's crazy. It's crazy the money these guys are making.
It's totally crazy, and this will be the craziest year yet. You know, already Marcel Reed, the quarterback at A&M, has gone out and publicly said, "Yeah, I'd consider a move to another team. Probably take around $4 million." He just, he's negotiating,
Right, right.
at the
You
podium.
right,
You know,
which
so it's going to get nuts.
Now, if you were the coach, you would be furious if your player did that. I would never let that happen. I mean, that's first of all, you have a playoff game coming up, and you're negotiating right now. And I'm like, I know it's a business, but not now, guys. We have a playoff game coming, and I feel, and he played like crap against Texas. I know I heard he's injured, whatever, not play, but I was not impressed at all with him. Couple nice throws, but overall, he played a very unsatisfactory game. But to stand on the podium and you got a playoff game to play, and then you're putting out, like the highest bidder almost, doesn't fly with me, Dale. No.
It doesn't feel good to see that as a fan. Now it's a reality that, yeah, they're playing for money and that they've got to do everything they can to leverage themselves, but you don't want to see it played out in that way. Keep the main thing, and show some respect from your team for your teammates.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
let that
You
wait
thought,
until afterward. Part of it, of course, is the fault of the college football calendar, which the transfer portal opens on January the 2nd, and the players have until January the 16th to enter the portal. It's extended for teams that are in the final to January 24th, I believe. But
which is
still,
crazy. Yeah.
yes, very compressed. It puts a lot of pressure on teams that are fighting to go somewhere in the playoffs and players that are trying to secure their spot for next year and make a good deal for themselves. It's just impossible, and it definitely needs to be streamlined in some ways. They made a little bit of progress by resetting the signing day calendar. Now that's all done before the playoffs begin, and that's good. The
Right.
coaches aren't having to crisscross the country in December trying to make some last ditch recruiting moves. Yeah, so that's better. But somehow they have to coordinate the whole thing. Spring practice, um, the portal, the playoffs. Playoffs ought to be over on January 1st. The
I
final ought
agree.
to be January 1st at the Rose Bowl. That should be the national championship, and the playoffs should occur in December in 4 straight weeks without these long layoffs.
That's what I worry about because Oregon played their last game on November, was it 30th,
29.
29th?
Yes.
So they're not going to play a game for 3 weeks, basically 3 weeks, right? That's a
Yeah,
long time for
it is.
football. I
It
mean,
is.
you only can hit each other so long, and that's what I was going to ask you about. What do you think they should do? What do you think the game plan is going to be going to that game? You think we don't know the weather yet, but I mean, they scored a ton of points in the first half against USC, so they can score. And then kind of like you know what? That's when you look at Oh, we haven't played in 3 weeks, but if we get a big lead, I'd start sitting guys and being like, let's get ready for Texas Tech. Let's not get anybody injured before we have, So that's what I guess the plan would be, to beat them up and be done with them at halftime.
I think that's goal, definitely, JD. I think you're right on about that. The Dan Lanning has said that he learned a lot from last year's playoffs and the way he handled that. And he's going into this one, I think, with a more cohesive plan. Um, I think they're very happy to be in that 5 seed and get this tune-up game at
Exactly.
the start of the playoffs. And it really will be interesting to me to see how they handle potentially playing 3 games in the Southeast. That's what it would take to be in the championship game. They'd have to play in the Orange Bowl on January 1st against Texas Tech.
And then
And
where's the
Texas Tech
eighth?
is
Where
a
the
good
eighth and
team.
where's the eighth and ninth game? Do you know where the semis are? I didn't look that up. I didn't look up
Yes,
where the
the
semis.
semifinal would be the Peach Bowl,
Oh,
probably against Indiana on January 9th.
and that would be indoors, which would actually be beneficial for them to play on the turf. And then
Yeah,
the championship game is back in Miami, right? It's back again in
correct.
Miami, I think.
Hard Rock Stadium on January 19th, which is a Monday. So
I
they
know.
have 3 games all in the Southeast, and I'm wondering, and I don't think this has come out publicly yet, but I'm wondering if their plan would be to stay in the Southeast, maybe train at Florida A&M or somewhere,
Right.
for that 3-week period. They can send a truck east and south with the equipment they need and the uniforms and so forth, rather than take 6 plane flights, and
Right. Which
cross
is
time
crazy.
zones 6
Agreed.
times. So I'm curious to see how that will play out, and that'll be a big part of their preparation. I know in the NFL, if a team has 2 road games across the country, they stay in a hotel and do a little team bonding, and not go back and go forth.
Right. Yeah, I'm. It is great. Listen, they busted their butt for the season to get that 5 seed, which more props to them. They played good football. You won the 2 game. You had to win USC. Then you Washington, which is always a tough opponent. You won the games you're supposed to win, and actually it worked out better. You didn't have to beat yourself up an extra game in the conference championship game. You got more rest. Right. Now that's what I wanted to ask you. Is the Korean the wide receiver? What's his the one who got
Corey
injured?
from Duncanville, Texas, 10-4 sprinter.
But he's been out 4 straight games, correct?
He has. He got hurt in practice the week of the Iowa game,
Okay.
so he missed all of November. Evan Stewart, another great wideout that they have, has missed the entire season, tore his patellar tendon in June. And there are whispers, there are murmurings that they
Murmurings.
may
Okay.
be available in the playoffs. Now, nothing's been said officially. Dan Lanning never talks about injuries, but there's noise and chatter out there that they may be able to play. Also, Gary Bryant Jr., a senior wide receiver and a really good possession guy, their principal punt returner, he may be back. He hurt his ankle early in the Iowa game. So they
Right.
could get back 3 dynamic weapons on offense, and their offensive line has had time to heal up. For the Washington game, Iapani Laluulu and Isaiah World and Alex Harkey, their tackles, were all nursing injuries. We're all playing hurt. And getting them back healthy and able to get a full push and so forth would be huge for this Oregon team. We might see the best version of Oregon in the playoffs, which is every coach's goal, right? To
Right.
peak in the playoffs the way Ohio State did last year when the Buckeyes won it all.
I agree. I feel like guys getting healthy, more playing better and better, not making a lot of mistakes, not having turnovers, playing a lot better. I thought you guys, that's what I was looking at the teams. I was like, Oh, I thought Miami was up and down. Bama was up and down. Oklahoma was, I mean, they barely held on against LSU in the season finale. You guys have, and Ole Miss has been playing good football. They've been playing good football. Georgia too, but I feel like you're at the right place. Texas Tech scares me. That team looks good, but they're gonna have almost 5 weeks between games. That's a long time. That's a long time to not have not about 4 weeks. That's a long time off.
They're in the position that Oregon was in last year. And
Right,
the Ducks didn't handle it well, and Ohio State came out like a house on fire. I mean,
right.
they were, energized, angry, playing as a unit, and they shellacked Oregon, just put it to them in the Rose Bowl. So Texas Tech's a really interesting team. They've
They
got a
are.
great defense. Jacob Rodriguez, their linebacker, Bronco Nagurski winner. They've got a lot of talent on that defense, and they really swarm after the football. 39 sacks this season, lots of havoc, very, very physical. So definitely Oregon has got to be prepared for that game when it comes around. They're not thinking about it now. They're completely focused on James Madison and treating that like it's a playoff game, because it is, and expecting a really fired up JMU team to come into Autzen and look to shock the world. So they're focused on that game. But yeah, if you look forward to Texas Tech, man, they have some talent, and Baron Morton can sling it a little bit. They've got two tall outside receivers. They're explosive, maybe not as consistent on offense as the Ducks are. But anytime you have a defense that is that physical, that intense, and playing with that kind of fire, I mean, the way they played against BYU, that was impressive. So
I mean,
when it
and they
comes
gave,
around, yeah,
BYU scored first, and I think the rest of the game they did nothing. But their quarterback was playing on a bad wheel. But still, I mean, they got destroyed. That's why I think they got knocked out, because they got blown out. That 34-7 was bad. But I still feel like it was 2 losses. Barnes, my friend Barnes says Oregon by 40. I wasn't cheating on you, but I was looking at a matchup between James, like head-to-head stuff. Bill Oram said, you know what he thinks of for this game, Dale? Fiesta Bowl
nope.
2024. When you went against Liberty, Conference USA, 45-6 with Bo Nix. That's what I could see this game. I can see this game getting ugly, really ugly. So I guess we're going to see,
Oram is a really great writer. I enjoy his stuff a lot, and
Right.
he does his homework. I think he's onto something. I think Dan Lanning is looking to make a statement about his team's readiness and their preparation and their focus on this opponent, this day, this play. And
Right.
that's the kind of score I would expect. But the game plan would definitely be, as you said, to take care of business, establish control, and get your starters out of there, because you don't want any freak injuries. You don't want anybody rolling an ankle, and you want to reward your freshmen and sophomores with the opportunity to play in a big game before the home fans for one last time, because they're going to have to be villains for the rest of the playoff. They'll have to be road warriors. Oregon travels decently. There's a really enthusiastic cadre of fans that follow the team around the country, but asking those fans to attend 3 games
That's a
across
lot.
the country,
A
you know,
lot of money. That's a
that's
lot
a
of money.
lot of money. You would have to have a lot of airline miles or tap into your 401k to go to all
Right.
3 of those. I wish I could, but I didn't plan that well when I was a young man.
No, me either. I didn't plan well either. Now, what was I going to ask you? This is the thing. I also, why to get the players out? That's what I was thinking about. So James Madison, if they're losing badly second half, they're playing all their starters, and that's when somebody takes a bad hit, and that's what I get nervous about, because they're out there. They're ticked off. They've been getting run up and down the field. Maybe the offense isn't clicking like they, because that's what I always find it funny. Oh, they're averaging 38 points a game. Well, now they're in the playoffs. They're averaging 3 points a game. It's just, and I get nervous about them going, going against the Oregon guys, and you don't want guys getting hurt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it like you said, you only can play the teams that are in front of you, and this will be a good wake up call for the committee. Like, we can't do this ever again. We should have put in another team. No offense, hey, you had a great year, James Madison, but best 12 teams. That's what we were talking about yesterday, my friend Barnes. Best 12 teams, and we don't have the best 12 teams in. And no disrespect to James Madison, had a very good season, but now you're playing with the big boys. This is different. This is different.
Just one group of 5. You want to include a group of 5 team, just one. And then you take the best team for the 12th spot. Or you seed them based on their strength, but the 12th team that you take is the 11th best team in the country.
Yes. I agree. I agree with you 100% on that one. Also, I wanted to talk about, so I did a little research. You wrote a great article about the recruiting class. They finished number 2 with this recruiting class?
Yes. It's a terrific recruiting class, and a lot of the talk has been about the 5-star players that they recruited. But they recruited 9 guys in the Rivals Top 100. This class
nine of them? Wow. Okay.
Yes, this class is deep with guys who have NFL potential. Not every recruit makes it. A few of them will bust out. It happens every year. A few are going to transfer. But they did a great job of addressing needs and getting quality players who will compete for playing time. I have some favorites in this class. One of them is Tony Cumberland, who is a defensive lineman who now plays at Willamette High School in Eugene. He has been recruited for the Ducks. He's just a 4-star player. 4-star players, there's only like 1,000 of them in the country. It's out of 250,000 kids who graduate from high school football every year. So he's still a great player. But the interesting thing about him is that he's been committed to the Ducks for 2 years. 2 years.
Really? He wants to come. Yeah, he wants to come.
And his high school coach, Josh Line, is an old fullback at the University of Oregon. And he says, hands down, Cumberland is the best player I've ever coached, the best athlete I've ever had. And he's like a 6'3", 6'4" defensive lineman, weighs about 285 as a high school senior. So I'm really excited about him and his potential and development.
He'll be over 3. They'll get him to college. They'll get him over 3 in a second. He'll be in a heartbeat. Wow, 280. Can you imagine being 285 in high school to be that big? Well, there's another guy. What's his name? Iheanacho? Emmanuel Iheanacho? Am I saying it right?
As far as I know, fans have taken already to call him Nacho or Manny. Because he does have a name I'll have to hear a couple more times before I pronounce correctly. But yeah, that guy is 6'7", 345.
He's in high school.
Yes. He's twice been named to the Under Armour All-America team. He's from the DC area. He's a kid who a 4-point student. He plays basketball, and he's been tested at all these camps and clinics and all-star events. Really high potential, a 5-star player. I think the number 16 recruit in the country, depending on the service. But yeah, he's a kid who could potentially start 3 years and go to the NFL. Physically strong, agile, great work habits. He squats 600 pounds as a high school senior.
You wrote that in the article. I was like, I'm thinking about, I think most I ever did was 600 pounds on your neck, on your back is a lot of weight. And then but there's other guys you have. Gaitlin Bear runs a 10-5, 10-1-5, 100? You
10, 1,
have
5, 100. Yes.
He's a wide receiver. Jalen Lott, 7 foot high jump, 40-inch vertical. He had 20 total touchdowns his junior year in 4A football, Texas. That's the big. That's big. That's the big one, right? Or one of the big
6A,
ones.
6A is the biggest, but it's all
Oh,
serious football. Uh,
yeah, it's all serious.
in fact, he's from Liberty. Uh, no, no. Evan Stewart is from Liberty, but they're both from the
Mm,
same town, Frisco, Texas. And
Frisco.
yeah, when you see an athlete with a 24-foot long jump and a 7-foot high jump, medaled in both sports in high school, he's also a great football player. That's explosiveness. That's a guy who gets off the ball and gets in the air and makes those contested catches. Really dynamic athlete. And Bear, as you said, 10, 1, 5, 100 meters. That's one of the 20 or so fastest schoolboy times run ever. He's almost a world-class sprinter today. And he's not a little guy. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. He's been on a 2-year religious mission. So he's
Oh,
had
he
time
has
to
been.
develop. Yeah.
Ah.
And he stuck with the Ducks through the entire thing, didn't reopen his recruitment. His brother, Peyton, is the NCAA decathlon champion at Oregon. So there's that family connection. He's from Idaho. Really terrific kid, a Gatorade State Player of the Year, and yes, 42-inch vertical jump. So you're adding guys with speed, explosiveness, competitive drive, and those things almost mean as much as a star rating with those attributes. And
Right.
Dan Lunning does a tremendous job with his staff of identifying guys who have that extra something in their makeup, in their desire to win. And when I look at this class, I think about this class stacked upon the last three, which were all top five classes, and Oregon has the talent to compete with anyone. Now they have to get over the hump.
Yeah, right. They have to get a and Jet Washington played at Bishop Gorman, which is like that's a college unto itself. You get kids who
Yeah,
go there. Go. They said he's going to start from day one. He's 6'5", a 6'5" safety. Who else? Oh, you also talked about how do you say it? Xavier Larice,
I
defensive
believe
back.
so. Yeah.
I,
Washington, by the way, is the nephew of Kobe Bryant and is a Division I prospect as a basketball player, a shooting guard.
who? Wait,
Smooth, fluid.
Jet. I just lost what you just said. Jet Washington is also a basketball player.
Yes, he's Kobe Bryant's nephew. His
Oh,
mother is Kobe Bryant's sister. So, and both his parents were Division I athletes. Uh,
so he can. So he
oh
must
yeah,
be. Good
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah, athletic,
Genetics.
a leader, a physical hitter, one of those safeties who can play the deep safety and range all over the field. He's very dynamic, 5-star
It's
player.
it's
And
amazing the guy. What? I'm sorry. What were you gonna say? I
I
apologize.
apologize. I didn't allow a transition. Larice, as you were saying, he's a Florida kid from Ugali High School, a 4-star player, but tremendous drive and desire. On the Ugali team, he was the kick returner. He was a dynamic player on offense. He's physical. He's all over the field. He's got great speed, and his father is an athletic trainer. So
Oh,
yeah, he's had an
groomed.
elite level of training. You know, uh, I've got a beer pack. He's got a 12 pack. He's probably one of the most cut, physical, physically mature guys you'll ever want to see.
Oh,
Not a
he's
big guy.
shredded.
Oh, completely shredded, strong. Every ounce of his body is fast twitch muscle. I mean, it's incredible. Um, so I'm looking for him. He's a smaller guy. He's like 5'11", 180, somewhere in that range. So he'd be a guy who will cover slot receivers, uh, be one of those combo type defensive backs who forces on the run and covers the quick little guys.
And you had one of your sleepers was Braylon Hodges, the linebacker, 6'3", 212. What do you like about
Yeah,
him?
from Cherry Creek High School in Colorado, the same place where they got Blake Purchase, who's a dynamic defensive end for them now. And they needed help at linebacker. Not to disparage anybody they have, but Bryce Betcher is a senior. A couple of guys down the roster have been hurt that would just slowed their progress a little bit. So they needed some developmental players at linebacker. And Hodge is about 6'3", 210, a good athlete. They need more of that. Tristan Phillips, their other linebacker recruit from Ventura, California, really good athlete, stuck with the program all through his recruitment. And it feels like with him, he's really embraced the Oregon culture. He was already doing the dubs down on social media, so he's definitely a duck through and through at this point.
Now, as I've been seeing guys enter in the transfer portal, has anybody from Oregon? Has anybody? They're still playing, so I guess have you heard any rumblings about guys that are going to transfer out?
Dan Lanning has never lost a starter to the transfer portal. It's inevitable they'll lose a few guys. Attrition is normal and natural. They'll probably lose 15, guys who want to play, guys who want to play right away. Austin Novosad might follow Will Stein to Kentucky, but nobody's
Right.
declared this yet. Right now, everybody's focused on a playoff run, going as deep as they can. But some guys will exercise their option and move on. Uh, Oregon has done a tremendous job of filling needs in the portal. I mean, every year they've gotten 8 to 10 guys who were impact players out of the portal. This year, I can't imagine this team without Emmanuel Pregnon, without Bear Alexander, without Dylan Thieneman, Malik Benson, who has come on so strong in November and made so many big plays for them. Those guys have been integral to what Oregon is doing, and they identified them from around the country. In the case of Benson, here's a guy who maybe caught 20, 25 balls a year for 250, 300 yards at Alabama and Florida State. But at Oregon, he's emerged. I mean, this team would not be where they are without some of the big plays he's made.
And he's older. I think he's either 23 or 24. He's not a young guy anymore. So he knows it's his last shot.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got a
he got an extra year. He
right.
started in JUCO. He got an extra year to come to Oregon, and he's really made the most of it. Turned himself into maybe an NFL draft pick.
I think someone will take a look at him because he got speed. He catches the. I just saw that the Bengals got rid of a guy who had played. I forget. I'm blanking on his name, but he was a second or third round draft pick last year. They cut him because he was late to meetings, and you're thinking, teams want guys that they know they can count on. I mean, we talk about the Giants. Abdul Carter sleeping in meetings, coming late to meetings, missing meetings. You're just like, and this guy was a top 5 draft pick. I mean, so I don't think I hear about that. The one kid who left, the kid who came from Tulane couldn't crack the starting lineup. He left, and then you had that other guy, the young kid who was was a 4 or 5 star. That D-back, was he D-back or was he? I'm trying to think. The guy who.
When you bring that up, the first guy I think about is Jurion Dickey, the 5-star
Yes,
wide receiver from East Palo Alto, who
and he didn't.
he basically left the team in fall camp. He was frustrated about playing time, had a few injury issues, and went to a Southern California community college, and I think he's going to play at Sacramento State next year. But
That's a
but
drop. Yeah.
you gotta take care of your business, and now that their guys are being paid, yeah, being on meetings, being on time. Dan Lanning places a really high emphasis on that. You got to be on time because if you're not,
Accountable. Right.
yeah, you're letting down everybody, you know?
And that's what I love about Lanning. Like we talk about that. You got to have a coach that, when you go play for Lanning, there's no BS. I mean, he's like, hey, he runs a tight ship, which is what I want my coach to be. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it's very interesting because I know what I feel I've seen enough of Oregon this year. I've seen a little bit of Texas Tech, but they haven't played. They haven't really played anybody out of conference, if I'm correct. I don't remember them playing anybody that they lost to Arizona State. That was the only loss this year. But and then Indiana, I feel like they're, Ohio State is Ohio State. But their kicker missed an easy chip shot. So and then I think Ryan Day sometimes gets very tense in important moments of the game. I feel and we don't know Indiana. I think Indiana did they give it all to win the Big Ten championship, and will they have anything left? Like, was that the goal this year? I mean, they've done things that program's never done ever. So like you guys last year went through, you won the Big Ten title game, a tough game, and then Ohio State just came and ran over you. So it's going to be interesting. You right? And a couple of publications I saw, was it Danny Cannell thinks you guys can win it all? Is that who said, or someone else?
Danny Cannell, CBS Sports, national champion at Florida State in 1993. He says the Ducks are his team. They're his pick to win all of this. Now, I don't know. We'll see. You have to handle your business week by week. None of it will be easy for anyone, but it is heartening from an Oregon perspective that somebody feels they have a chance. I think in the latest odds at FanDuel, Oregon is plus 800. They have the fourth best odds to win it all. Ohio State is first at about 22%. But it's going to be fun. We're going to see some great football in these playoffs.
I would think it has to be Ohio State, Georgia, then Indiana. Indiana third?
Yes. Indiana is 17%, just ahead of Oregon, curiously, in their opportunity to win it all. They've got a road. They've got the winner of Alabama, Oklahoma.
That's going to be a tough. And I think Alabama's going to. That's the thing. I don't. What's the quarterback for Mateer has been playing with an injured hand, and I don't think they've looked great. I think they've looked good, and they did beat Alabama on the road, so they shouldn't be concerned. But they have a good defense. That I will say this. Whereas I think Alabama is coming in a little. They barely beat Auburn, and I know it's a rivalry game. And then they didn't -3 yards rushing against Georgia. So it's going to be interesting, Dale.
It really will be. The Tide has got to really regroup because they did not look good against Auburn, as you said, and they kind of imploded against Georgia. Of course, that Georgia defense is forming as always. So they really have not looked like a focused operation in their last two outings. So they'll have to make maximum use of this time to get themselves oriented, and their quarterback, Ty Simpson, he looks out of sync. He looks like his confidence has been shaken. They need to get him back on the right page.
Well, Bill Parcells said he wouldn't draft a quarterback and didn't play less than 30 starts, at least 30 starts, I remember. He wouldn't draft. They had to have quarterbacks who had experience, and that's the thing. Dante Moore doesn't have a lot. Ty Simpson doesn't have a lot. Another thing, my buddy is went to Tulane, a grad there. They don't have a running attack. Jake Retzlaff is running the ball all the time, and they got beaten. I think it was week 2 or week 3. They lost 45-10 at home to Ole Miss. So Ole Miss could really run it up.
Yeah,
and
it's a rematch, and Ole Miss is favored by 17.5. I don't think it'll be that close.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah,
particularly playing in Oxford.
And I think Texas Miami is just what's the spread? Is it 4 for Texas A&M? I think that's a pick'em game. I just don't know. Now the one thing I will say, Miami has that. What's his Malachi Tony, the freshman? That kid is amazing. He touches the ball every time he can touch the ball. But Carson Beck, when he's bad, he's really bad, and he makes a lot of for a guy who was brought in and played all those games at Georgia. He makes a lot of boneheaded calls, a lot of bad passing, a lot of interceptions, makes a lot of mistakes. I'm curious.
You know, Miami has got that great pass rush, and
Right,
that's
right.
right. That is what Stockton is. It Stockton? That's his weakness as a quarterback. I think is when he gets under pressure. He's a little bit. Well, what am I saying? My Miami opens with Texas A&M and Marcel Reed,
Right,
but
right.
and I really feel like the Hurricanes maybe will come into this thing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder,
He's
right?
going
Because
with
they
right,
almost didn't get in. They were almost passed up for Notre Dame. They had to kind of lobby and fight to get into this thing. So Mario Cristobal can use that, right? He
right.
can he
And
can play the disrespect card. He can say, "Hey, nobody believes in you guys. Nobody thinks you belong in this tournament. Go out there and show them." That'll
right.
be fun. That'll add some juice to this game. It
Yes,
should be a close one. The Aggies are favored by 4.
right. Yeah, and yeah, and yeah. So that's the thing. See, we get one game on a week from Friday. A week from Friday. That's the what is it? Was what's the game on for? Yes, Alabama Oklahoma's Friday night, and then you get a triple header. You know what's crazy? So the NFL is that day too. Like the NFL doesn't like sharing. They don't like sharing. They're gonna have Saturday games that day. Yeah, there's some games on. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's why I really think they should start this playoffs December 1st, open the season just a little bit earlier. That
right.
week 0, make that a full week of college football. Maybe take out the conference championship games, start the playoffs December 1st, wrap them up by January 1st, so you're not competing with the NFL. Be the main story. Be the be
Right.
the yeah, be with the game that everybody wants to watch.
I agree. So I was thinking we should do another show, but that's going to be between Chris. Are you around between Christmas and New Year's? Or are you traveling? Because a lot of people
I'm
aren't
around
around.
always, and even if we're traveling, I'm around. I'm as
Okay.
close as your telephone.
Yeah. So I thought we could do a show before the because I'm saying that we're all saying they're going to win. I would like to do one before the game, the quarterfinal game. They're going to be playing on. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Oh wait, so they're play. Yes, they're the noon game. They're the early game on the first. So we should do a show before then. That's what
That
I'm
sounds
thinking.
outstanding. I'd love to do it.
And before you go, I did write down a couple of trivia questions. I might just do one of them because I figured if we get one right, we can stop there. Do you know who is the all-time leading scorer for Oregon's women's basketball? All time.
Sabrina Ionescu. Gotta be.
Okay. Do you want to go for a second one, or did you feel,
Let,
or did
let's
okay?
go for it.
Who has the most passing yards all time in Oregon football history?
Marcus Mariota.
2 for 2. Who has the most rushing yards all time in Oregon Ducks program history?
I believe that is Rolls Royce, Royce Freeman.
Do you know who has the most rushing touchdowns in program history?
Who? Okay, it's either Royce again or it's LaMichael James. I think that's Rolls Royce also.
Now, okay, this is one I put up there, but I don't know if you're going to know. Do you know the same player has the most receptions and receiving yards in program history? I don't remember this player. He played from 2000 to 2003. Would you know this guy? Would you know who was the most receptions and receiving yards in Oregon Ducks program history? Well,
For
actually,
a
he's
career,
tied with another player. Most
okay, for a career, that would be all right. That would be Sammy Parker.
Parker, yes, 178 catches. Do you know this guy? I don't.
I repeat the question, please.
Okay, so Sammy Parker has 178 receptions. A guy who played for the Ducks between 2007 and 2010 is tied with him with 178 career receptions.
The
And I think
mailman,
he,
the
yes,
mailman, Jeff Wall.
yes, good God, wow. I had, you see, I had one more. Do you know who's the leading scorer ever in the basketball program? This is before my time. I mean, I was born, but I was like, who?
Oh man, that's a tough one because there've been so many great guys.
He
Uh,
played from 72 to 76.
that sounds like Ronnie Lee.
You are on fire today, Dale.
I'm
What was that?
five.
One,
I'm five.
two, three, four, five, four, five, six, like eight. I don't know, 7 or 8 in a row.
All right. I wouldn't have
I
gotten
bow
the
to
last
you.
one if you hadn't have given me the years.
Well,
Because I
that's
was
I have
thinking
to.
Luke Rignor and a bunch of great players that they've had over the years. But Ronnie Lee, he was the guy from 72 to 76, the Kamikaze Kids. Uh, Dick Harter was the coach back then, and they used to pride themselves on getting on the floor and bruising themselves up and bruising the opponent up. They beat Bill Walton and UCLA.
They did regular season. Wow,
Yeah, regular season ended a long winning streak for the Bruins back when John Wooden and the Bruins
we're
were
dominant.
college basketball.
Wow, wow, you're fantastic. So yeah, we'll do a let's watch the game this next weekend, and then we'll do a show. All right.
That sounds great. JD, we'll talk before then, but I hope you have a great holiday season. Really good to see you again.
And where they can find you, Dale, again. Just give us that.
Okay, awesomezoo.com. That's the website. On Twitter at @OdsonZoo_bliss, and then the Odson Zoo Facebook page.
Yes, he only writes about 55 to 56 articles a day, so you have to keep up. I'm like, this is like bam, 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 and I'm always like, I gotta love my Dale. Oh, and I did tweet last night because he made a beautiful pass, and I go, making the Oregon alumni proud, Dale Bliss.
You showed so much courage in that game, JD. I mean, I can't imagine. He had surgery on his hand on a week ago Monday. All
Right.
right, and the reporters asked him after the game. They said, "When did you know you were going to be able to play?" And he said, "Well, probably last Sunday afternoon." There was no way they were keeping him out of the lineup. He's got
And
a beat up
yeah,
offensive line with 2 tackles out.
oof.
His top 2 running backs are out, but the Chargers are 9-4 and looking at getting a home playoff game.
And Hampton came back, and then I think they lost another lineman during the game. He got rolled up on, and he never came. So I'm like, I think they said they were on their fourth offensive lineman and one of their tackles or something. It's crazy. I mean, they lost Alt and they lost Slater. Oof. But yeah, and he was running the ball.
Yeah, I had 10 carries for 66 yards. Led the Chargers in rushing. Absolutely
Great.
nuts.
Yeah, and Lad McConkey had 1 catch, and Gatson had 1. So it wasn't like guys. I mean, he was doing it all. And a game which did you see that one play? They have the interception. It gets knocked out of his hands. It goes to Saquon. They knock it out of his hands, and they get it. And I was like, I thought I was watching the. My girlfriend goes, "Are we watching the replacements?" I mean, that's what. I mean, that was the craziest play I ever saw in my life. And you figure Saquon, yeah. What were you gonna say?
The funny thing about that play, JD, is that the guy who forced the fumble was Jamari Caldwell, an ex-Oregon player. He applied the pressure up the middle on the play and then hustled over. Hurts picks up the fumble and he punches the ball out. And the guy who recovered the fumble was Troy Dye, a 4-year starter at Oregon, a captain on the Rose Bowl team that won the Rose Bowl in 2020, a teammate of Justin Herbert's, played the same 4 years. So the whole play was engineered by Ducks. So it was quite a moment.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it was all Ducks. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get players from all over the country, which is so awesome. I mean, you'll play, next in the Orange Bowl. I mean, that just only helps recruiting. Kids are going to see the uniforms, and you're wearing a different uniform every game. You're not wearing the same color pattern. unless Lanning is a little superstitious and goes, hey, this works. But I don't think so. I don't know if he's like that. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I'm excited. Listen, I'm totally behind your Ducks. I'm watching them now. I think of you all the time. I'm like, I gotta watch for Dale. So,
well, if something happens, text me or
oh,
anything like that. It's always fun to keep
yeah.
connected.
Well, that's why I reached out to you and I was like, he must be busy. Then you're like, how about? And he gave me. I was like, bam, let's do it. Well, hey, what's the temperature out by you right now?
Um, I was looking at that for the game. Typical December weather in Oregon is variable and unpredictable, but generally the highs range between, or the temperatures range between 34 and 46 degrees, with a chance of snow of about 2%, a chance of rain almost guaranteed.
Yeah, today it's in the. It said it was 30, but it felt like it was in the 20s. Like I took my gloves off and I was like, ooh, my hands are. I walked across town and I was like, ooh. I was like a little chilly. Yeah, a little
It all
chilly.
depends on where the wind is coming from, right?
Right,
If it's
right.
coming from Canada, it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. Yeah. So, all right. So I know you're a busy man. So he's got to write another 30 articles tonight. But Dale, thank you so much for coming on, and we will be we'll have you on before the Texas Tech game because that's what's happening. We
Maybe
got
I
to be honest
appreciate
here.
you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.